So you got to make it do it because you know what? I'm looking jabbing. So if I be jabbing, you gonna try to hit me right.
The sparring videos of the baddest man on the planet and his upcoming opponent Jake Paul have been leaked, and it is definitely not the outcome you expect. Mike Tyson was the center of attraction for boxing in the 80s and 90s with his prowess in the boxing ring, but he's attracted more attention even 2 decades after his retirement, and it's not just for his sharpness in the ring. Even his training and sparring sessions are becoming topics of discussion everywhere. In the leaked sparring session, he's seen in the ring against Jake Paul, his next opponent, and the run of events have surprised those that have chanced upon it. From the sparring between both fighters, so much seemed to have changed in the build-up to the match on July 20th. Let's dive right in. It's no news that one of the greatest boxing legends and former world heavyweight champion, Mike Gerard Tyson, is showing up on our screens once again, not as a cornerman, but as a heavyweight boxer. The baddest man on the planet is hopping in the ring in a bout against Jake Paul, the problem child, on the 20th of July, 2024. And with every step taken in the build-up, the world of boxing is being thrown into a series of controversies and speculations. While some spot and highlight the wide age difference between the two as the most decisive factor in the match, others are centering their thoughts and predictions around Mike Tyson's experience and boxing abilities. To them, Mike Tyson is ageless and as terrifying and fierce as he was 30 years ago in his prime. Professional boxers and commentators have been asked to give their 2 cents on the prediction, and they've lined equally on both sides of the fence. There have been different opinions and speculations as regards this bout. In a recent talk session, the former world heavyweight champion was asked about his upcoming match with Jake, and when he responded, he did without a glitch of certainty or confidence. "I'm very much looking forward to stepping into the ring with Jake Paul. He has grown significantly as a boxer over the years. So it'll be a lot of fun to see what the will and ambition of a kid can do with the experience and aptitude of a GOAT. I kicked off his boxing journey on the undercard of my fight with Roy Jones, and now I plan to finish him." That's not so much of a big deal, and an overstatement coming from the former undisputed world heavyweight champion boxing who won his first 19 professional fights by knockout, and 12 of them in the first round. It's no news their sparring sessions have been causing rounds of uproar and divided speculations, with some fans highlighting the noticeable growth in Jake Paul as he honed his skills and worked on becoming more adept in facing both older and younger opponents, making reference to the popular matchup against Tommy Fury. It was a very tight match that could almost have gone either way. Judging from that performance, Jake Paul solidified his feet in the world of boxing. Though not carried away by Paul's recent bouts where he had consecutive first-round knockouts, he deserves all the accolades he can get. And from the most recent sparring sessions between them, one thing is noticeable about Jake Paul: his aggression. Though Paul is also known to be a heavy puncher for his division, he seemed to be working majorly on his aggression, an innate gift of Mike Tyson. Paul, like Mike Tyson, had knockout victories in his first set of matches as a boxer, and when Paul was going to see out a match, he did so in some impressive fashion. He had 71 shots compared to his opponent's 52, and most significantly, he had 35 power shots in the matchup. To an extent, one can't underestimate Jake Paul's aggression and hits in the ring. He's just no match to the man who ended Michael Spinks in just 91 seconds in the World Heavyweight Championship. However, one reminder that has been sent to the boxing world from the likes of the Golden Boy of Boxing, Oscar De La Hoya, Dana White, and some others, is that the Tyson that did all of those is no longer in existence. In their books, he became extinct some 2 decades ago. In the leaked sparring session between them, Jake Paul was seen aiming at taking advantage of Mike's strengths. Sometimes when you want to kill a killer, you kill him with his weapons and using his style. Relentlessly and carelessly, Jake Paul attempted hitting Tyson with his best punches, hoping to master the art of using his aggression as an advantage. But in Mike's training session, Mike did something that has come as a huge surprise to everyone. Like in a perfect contrast of Jake Paul's style of boxing, Mike Tyson was seen painstakingly aiming at his target, carefully planning every of his punches. Nothing confirms Iron Mike's versatility than this. Tyson carefully dished out his punches at Paul and made an attempt to escape a counter. So while Jake Paul worked on his aggression, to ensure he had the better part of Tyson, Tyson has chosen to work on a more important aspect of his game to remain the all-encompassing fighter he's been always known to be. But Jake Paul didn't stop there. It wasn't just about his aggression. Jake Paul, in recent times, has decided to go beyond the trainings and advice of his trainer, Benjamin Flores. Jake Paul has been seen training with Evander Holyfield in a video that blew up the internet. And Jake Paul was seen working on the exact techniques that he was taught by Evander Holyfield.
So you got to make it do it, because you know what? I'm looking jab. So if I be jabbing, you gonna try to hit me right.
Well, that struck some chord. It passed some messages as well. Holyfield remains one of the 6 people to defeat Mike Tyson in his rich boxing career of 58 matches. And with Jake Paul employing the help of Holyfield, he may just be looking to beat the best by learning from those who beat the best. With the help of Holyfield, Jake Paul is looking to deploy the same tactics and techniques that earned Evander Holyfield a famous victory over Mike Tyson, only that there may not be a bite in the aftermath of this. The problem child could be seen concentrating and eager to learn as Evander was seen giving appropriate moves and pointing out possible open areas while in defense. This exactly was practiced by Jake Paul in the sparring session with Mike Tyson. He wasn't only showing Tyson that he's mastered aggressiveness. When asked about Jake Paul's abilities in the ring after their sparring sessions, Holyfield had this to say. "Yeah, Paul's got magical punches too for his category. I know many folks pay attention to only the heavyweight guys for the weight of their punches. But trust me, for his size, this guy's a handful. And he's not just a handful in his punches, you have to give it to him for his swiftness. The ability he has to carry himself and give swift responses when needed is going to put him on the books. Even when he moves to higher divisions, I know he'll remain the same. He has a decent record of knockouts too, and that's not an accident." Then, Holyfield warned those who paid no attention to Paul for the sake of his reputation for fighting only older men. "We shouldn't be carried away by the claims that he's a YouTuber who doesn't duel real boxers. He's fought 3 or so with boxers and he's seen 1 out and knocked 2 out in the first round. He's doing great." But it wouldn't end just that way. The training session between Evander Holyfield and Jake Paul sparked up fans' speculations and quotas, referring the fact that the former undisputed welterweight and heavyweight champion, who took on Tyson and defeated him twice in the ring, was training Tyson's latest opponent. A fan said on Twitter, "Jake, Tyson isn't joking in this sparring. This isn't Ryan Borland. Even if Ali resurrects to train you, you're losing this." The fight between Jake and Ryan Borland ended in an embarrassing loss for Borland. Jake Paul scored a first-round TKO, battering Ryan Borland before the referee called the fight at 2:37 in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Paul improved to 9-1 with 6 KOs while stopping his opponent in the first round in a second consecutive fight. Borland, at 35 years of age, fell to 17-3. Paul, who predicted a second-round knockout in the cruiserweight fight, was coming off a first-round knockout against Andre August, December 15th. Paul came out firing jabs before landing an assortment of blows, body shots, rights, and uppercuts, before Borland found himself kneeling on the canvas with the referee waving off the contest before the end of the round. After the fight, Paul called out Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed super middleweight world champion. "I'm ready for the big leagues," Paul said. "I'm getting sharp. This is my life now. Like I said, I'm on the road to becoming world champion, and Canelo, stop ducking. I know you want it." During the match, Borland fired first, a jab that missed. Jake countered with his own jabs, but Borland showed no hesitancy. Jake connected with a right hand to the body, but Borland was still moving forward. Jake then threw his punches towards Borland's body again, while Borland was still coming, straight into a couple of Jake jabs. Jake landed a big right. Borland began wobbling as a result. Then Jake started winding up. He was showboating and unloading. Borland tried so hard to survive, but Jake landed more big blows. Before Borland could pick himself, it was over. Referee calls it off. One other fan saw Jake Paul training with Evander Holyfield and said, "Jake, by July 20th, you'll show the world that you're a Trevor Berbick reincarnate." Talking about this, Trevor Berbick gave Mike Tyson one of his most memorable knockout victories. It was a preordained beating, a historic moment waiting to happen, and the beginning of a new era. Mike Tyson stopped Trevor Berbick to become heavyweight champion. 20-year-old undefeated
Starting a demolishing
sensation,
unbeaten
Mike
run in the
Tyson
pro
was
ranks the
fresh off
following
his
year.
failed attempt to
Tyson
make it to
became
the
an
Olympics
overnight
after dominating
sensation,
the field
scoring
for years,
knockout after
only to be
knockout in
defeated
highlight
twice
reel
by
fashion,
future
and
Olympic
quickly
gold
becoming a
medalist
fan
Henry
favorite.
Tillman.
It was
At the
only a matter of time until
1984
Tyson managed to land a
trials,
title bout,
and then the U.S.
and that
Olympic
moment
box
came in
office,
late
and be left out of the team
1986
that
when
represented the
HBO
country
decided
in the
it
Los
didn't want to
Angeles
wait for the
Olympic
three-way
Games.
tournament between champions of the three major organizations to give Tyson his chance. The task fell on recently crowned WBC titleist Trevor Berbick, who had defeated Muhammad Ali in the greatest last bout and was coming off a narrow points win over Pinklon Thomas in his title-clinching effort. Berbick was no match for then superbly trained and confident Tyson. Barely out of his teens, but looking every bit the force of nature that he would become later, Tyson was 27-0 with 25 knockouts and had a 12-0 run in that year alone. He was the ample favorite on November 22, 1986, when he climbed the ring wearing his customary white towel and his black trunks and shoes. It didn't take long to realize that the 32-year-old Berbick had no chance. After winning round 0 with his stone-cold stare during the pre-fight instructions, Tyson went to work from the very first second of the fight, progressively laying a beating on Berbick and almost sending him to the canvas in a dramatic ending of the first round in which Tyson landed an unanswered 4-punch combo that staggered the champion. That was just the start. Tyson dropped Berbick with the first serious punch that he threw in the next round, and that was the beginning of the end. Barely able to defend himself against Tyson's furious onslaughts, Berbick held on to dear life throughout the round, drawing numerous warnings from the referee until he was dropped towards the end of the second round by a combination capped by a left hook that sent Berbick to the canvas. The champ clownishly attempted to make his stiff legs carry him to an upright position, but failed in 2 attempts, and referee Mills Lane stopped the carnage at the 2:35 mark. On seeing the sparring session with Holyfield, another fan quipped, "Pink and Thomas will do better than you." For Pinks, the famous night was the night of May 30th, 1987, as Tyson defended the WBA and WBC versions of the heavyweight championship at the Las Vegas Hilton Outdoor Arena. Tyson had won the WBA belt in a largely dull 12-round victory just 2 months earlier over James Bonecrusher Smith. That's where the dynamic WBC champ had struggled with Smith repeatedly, grabbing and holding him every time he got close. Still, Tyson landed far more of the clean punches over the 12 rounds, and there was no dispute that he deserved the decision. However, questions were now arising as to whether the 21-year-old Tyson was going to ascend to heights where Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali had before him. Those 2 iconic names had essentially defined the heavyweight championship in terms of number of title wins and defenses in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And in this fight with the January 1st 29, Thomas Tyson reasserted his tremendous hand speed and power for all to see. It didn't take long for Tyson to rock Thomas with a solid right-left combination in round 1, forcing him to take the bone-crusher tactic of grabbing onto Tyson. However, Tyson was more ready this time for the clutching, as he repeatedly went to the body, while following up with hooks or uppercuts whenever Thomas would try to hold him for any length of time. Tyson then began to show off a strong left jab and remained patient at the urging of his trainer Kevin Rooney as rounds 2, 5 went by. He also was landing the much heavier punches, including straight right hands and left hooks, as Thomas's face began to swell. Finally, after a lengthy delay at the end of the 5th round, where Thomas needed a new left glove put on because his original one was damaged, Tyson moved in for the kill. Just a minute into the 6th round, he rocked Thomas, again with an uppercut, and this time Tyson followed with several rights and lefts as Thomas wobbled around the middle of the ring, unable to grab him or fire back. Tyson finally landed a solid right, and with Thomas's guard down at his waist, a booming left sending him spilling over his left side and onto his back. legendary referee Carlos Padilla administered an account, but it wasn't necessary, as Thomas didn't beat it. And Thomas's Hall of Fame trainer for the fight, Angelo Dundee, had already jumped into the ring to make sure the fight would be stopped. The victory pushed Tyson's record at that time to 30-0-27 knockouts. And just 2 months later, Iron Mike was back in the ring, wiping out Tony Tucker over 12 rounds to capture the IBF version of the title. Thus, he became the first undisputed heavyweight champion since Ali held all of the belts in the 1970s. Tyson would go on to defend the undisputed championship 6 more times, including a brutal KO of Holmes in January of 1988. However, his seemingly unstoppable career got derailed in February of 1990 when Buster Douglas pulled arguably the greatest upset in the history of boxing, knocking Tyson out in the 10th round in Tokyo, Japan. In the sparring, Mike seemed to work more on his defense than attack. He hid the most ferocious part of him and saved it for July 20th. Well, it's a sparring session and there aren't really winners, but Tyson defended more while Jake unleashed his attack. Tyson's defense was just good enough to downplay the effectiveness of Jake's punches. When Tyson attacks in the matchup, it can only be hoped for that Jake neutralizes his punches. While Tyson has mostly been on the receiving end of countless accolades, Paul has also had his fair share of impressive victories. Paul's first fight was against YouTube star Anisan Gibb, who actually had boxing experience thanks to 2 amateur bouts. But Paul was able to knock him out fatally. His second and third also went the same way. And even when Paul wasn't winning by knockouts, his hard punch was a major force that ensured he delivered a major blow to his opponents. Only a few world-class boxers like the one Jake Paul be facing on the 20th of July have that ability to give such damaging actions in the ring. Also, Jake Paul has his talent for the lead hand hook, which was noticeable from his very first fight. And before his last fight against Ryan Borland, he also gave his supporters a sublime performance that got many talking. It was Jake Paul's lowest key fight till date. He continued his quest to become a legitimate boxer when he faced Andre August, a multi-time Golden Gloves winner. It took less than a minute for Paul to give his fans an early holiday gift as he knocked out August in the first round. Paul, who lost against Tommy Fury earlier that year, ended 20-23 on a high note. The problem child came out to rockin' around the Christmas tree with his brother Logan, the WWE United States champion. Nobody was sitting down in the packed arena from the opening bell, as all you could see were phones. The time the fight lasted was enough for a simple Snapchat story. Both fighters stayed in the center of the ring to open the fight. It appeared to be Paul's happy place as he landed dangerous counter shots. August went for a hook, and that was all Paul needed to land a counter right uppercut to take him out. The crowd erupted when Paul got his hands raised. "I said first round knockout all week. I manifested it," Paul said. He went night-night. "I don't know what I proved tonight. I'm just going to do me. He didn't even last 2 minutes. All I wanted to do was give you a knockout for Christmas." Paul said his next move will be revealed next week. He did say he wants to face those with the skills of August, and money fights are always on the table. It should be noted that rival KSI had a live-streamed sparring session timed to clash with Paul's event. However, while some fans cheered on Jake for his promising talents, others had nothing but praises for Mike Tyson as well as his trainer, Rafael Cordero, who is known to be a MMA legend and renowned trainer. Even the UFC commentator Joe was in awe after watching the sparring clip of monstrous Mike Tyson and his coach, Rafael Cordero. And Rafael is a world-renowned trainer. When you see him holding the mitts for Tyson and Tyson smashing the mitts like Jesus, that guy can still knock you out.
More, Mike!
It's not just a match between two boxers, it's a sparring battle as well. Who has proven to be the best of the two? July 20th is the answer. Hit the like and subscribe button and turn on notifications to keep getting the best updates of the top actions in the world of boxing. Until next time, peace out.